Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of the All That Jazz podcast. I'm your host Jazz, and in every episode, we'll be bringing you something fun, fresh, and filled with entertainment. If you've logged in today, if you're watching me, or you're hearing my voice, hi everyone, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for logging on today, picking up your devices, and thinking me worth your precious, precious time. Anyway, enough of the senti talk. In today's solo episode, we will be discussing all things confidence. So let's dive right in. Lights, camera, and all that jazz. So, today's episode will be split into 10 easily digestible topics. So, let's start with topic number 1, facing your fears. Now, facing your fears doesn't have to be jumping out of a plane thousands and thousands of miles and meters above sky, or holding a tarantula, or doing all these crazy things. Facing your fears can be little things like knowing your job is not right for you, so you move into a new job, getting that qualification because you know that you deserve more money, you deserve a better progression. I did that. I knew that I wanted to be a solicitor, so I faced my fears on sitting 16 long exams, but they were difficult. I was scared. It was a lot of money, but I still did it. I was facing my fears. I've always wanted to be in front of the camera. I love talking to people. A big fear. I started up a content page about a year ago. I started up a podcast just about a month ago, and it's been difficult. It's something that doesn't always come naturally to everybody, but facing your fears will make you feel so confident because it will boost your self-image. It will boost that confidence you have in yourself because you're doing something that's out of your comfort zone. And being outside of your comfort zone is where growth happens. So face your fears, do something that scares you today, and watch your confident self flourish. Topic number 2, challenging beauty standards. Now, I know a lot of men and women of today struggle with beauty standards, being women who might not fit that perfect body, the perfect height, perfect hair, or men with even worse beauty standards, in my opinion. Men are scrutinized a lot on the way that they dress, the way they are, how tall they are, how hench they are. It really is quite ridiculous. But the minute you stop fitting into someone else's mold, society's mold, is where you grow confident. Now, I have struggled with my weight for probably all of my life now. I was always a bit of a chubs bubs, but it wasn't my fault. I tried very hard when I was a kid to sort of be that beauty standard, and I'm 5'10", so I never fit the standard of being average height either. And I just recently started to sort of step into that, like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. If I'm 5'10", then I'm 5'10". I love being tall. And challenging those beauty standards was very hard because people would always be like, oh, how's the weather up there? Or, when I started, I've always wanted to be like, taking pictures and photo shoots. Oh, you're too tall to be a model, or you're not the right size to be a model. There's no size, there's no right anything. Challenge those beauty standards and you'll start embracing your uniqueness and watch your confident self grow. Topic number 3, it actually leads on to beauty standards, and that's dress for yourself. Now, the way you present yourself in the world, the way you wake up and decide this is the avatar that I've chosen today, really affects how confident you feel. Look at me. This outfit, this jacket is so ridiculous. It is so out there. But I've decided that it's who I am. It's my uniqueness. I created it myself, and it's made me confident. And I learned this actually from Tam Kaur. She's a fantastic YouTuber and podcaster as well. She has her own podcast, and she always gets up in the morning and gets herself put together, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just wearing a cute sort of lounge outfit and brushing your hair, putting a little bit of concealer or something on, and just feeling put together really makes you confident. And I started noticing that when I started going to work. So I started thinking, oh, sometimes at work I was just wearing lounge outfits and it was really boring, and I was just like, because we're very casual. But when I started wearing like proper work outfits and suits and I put on a blazer, I felt 10 times more confident. I felt more confident in my own answers at work, which is so ridiculous because I do the exact same thing every single day. But when I'd be wearing a good outfit, I would have absolutely no issue being like, no, this is my work and this is how I feel and this was the job I'm doing. Whereas when I'd be lounging, I'd be like, oh, I really can't be bothered. Like, I'd have no confidence in my own answers, in my own work. So, dress for yourself, embrace your uniqueness, and just do something. Put on one piece, one item of clothing a day, even if they're your favorite socks and they make you feel confident. Put them on and watch your confidence flow. Topic number 4, stand up for yourself. Now, a lot of people think, how is that related to confidence? In fact, that takes more confidence to stand up for yourself than it does to just be like, yeah, whatever. I realized this year, and actually last year as well, standing up for yourself really, really makes you confident because it teaches your brain subconsciously that we like us. And that sounds really silly, but honestly, your brain can't tell the difference between what you're saying and what someone else is saying. So, when you stand up for yourself, you teach your brain that we are worthy. We are worthy of this support. We are worthy to be stood up for. And I did it a lot last year, actually. A lot happened with me, and a lot of people were like, it's kind of your fault, or it's because you're like this, or it's because you look like that. And I was like, okay, but I don't. And it wasn't my fault. And this is who I am. And actually, no, you can't speak like that to me. And a lot of friendships too, I was like, no, you've not treated me well. It's time for you to go. But in a nice way. Wasn't just like really rude or bitchy about it. It was like, we no longer align. This is where I want to go in life, and this is where you're going. It's not working. You're not treating me right. Bye. And my brain started being like, oh my God, like she stood up for us. She likes us. Positive self-image. And it keeps going and it keeps going. And when you keep reinforcing that positive self-image with yourself, your brain's like, oh my God. So I've said it to this one person. I've said it to this next person. Now I can say it to my manager. Now I can say it to my siblings. Now I can say it to my parents. Now I can say it to any single person I want. And again, you don't have to get into a fight to stand up for yourself. It's boundaries, and it helps you grow, and it helps you become confident. Topic number 5, vocalize your weaknesses. Now, this is my favorite topic by far because I started doing it a long, long time ago. I started accepting my weaknesses was one thing, but then vocalizing them, completely different ballpark. So what do I mean by vocalizing your weaknesses? Well, vocalizing them means literally telling everyone, this is my weakness. So for the longest time ever, as I mentioned earlier, I have struggled with my weight, and I've always been like, I'm not the size I want to be. I'm not the weight I want to be. So I started actually telling people that, you know what, I'm not where I am right now. I'm not where I want to be in my weight, in my size. And that was it. People can't hold that against me anymore. I started telling people, oh my God, I'm really tall. Like, yeah, I am actually really tall. It's really bad. Like, sometimes I can't wear heels because I'm so tall. That's it. They stop bringing it up. Because once you vocalize your weaknesses, they don't have anything to attack you with. You've given them all the material, but it doesn't really affect you. So you vocalized it, and now you can just move freely. You don't have to hide all this stuff. Like for the longest time ever, actually, my hair has started thinning out from the top. And I just tell people, you know what? I've got to do my hair in a bun this way because my hair's kind of weakening and thinning from the top. And now it's just like, okay, well, when people are like, oh, don't do your hair this way, you can see you've got like a little bit of a bald patch there. I have a little bit of a bald patch here, by the way. I'm like, okay, and like, what do you want me to do about that? I've told you. And that actually helps you to filter out people that are not there for you and not going to support you, because you'll see when you vocalize your weaknesses and you tell people this is what you can attack me with, you actually get to see who will attack you with that information and who won't. And when you see that information, you move it back to topic number 4, which is standing up for yourself. And it keeps the ball rolling. It's literally like an avalanche of confidence. Topic number 6, positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is so important. I've been practicing it for so long now, and I've noticed such a big difference in my confidence. I've stopped saying things like, I can't do that. I'm scared to do that. I'm broke. I'm broke is such a big one because it is not positive at all. You're basically telling the universe, this is what I want. I don't want to do this podcast today. I had to stop myself from saying that so many times. Like, oh, I'm so scared. I don't want to do this. And the universe is like, okay, you're not going to now. And I'm going to create hurdle after hurdle and you just won't be able to do it. And the same thing goes for I'm broke. I said that so many times, and I was out of work for an entire year of my life. And for the first 6 months, I kept saying, oh, I'm broke. Like, how am I going to get through my life? What am I going to do? And I literally was actually broke. Like, I was losing money. It was leaking out from places I didn't even realize. Like, I was paying sudden, like, random debts and all this random stuff until about 6 months in. And I started, researching motivational topics. I started watching other people's podcasts. And I realized that the way you talk about yourself and the way you talk generally really affects your circumstances. So I started saying, it's fine if I don't have any money. I'm literally just a person on a floating rock. I don't even need money. It's a piece of paper. And one day I'm going to have loads of money. It's going to be really abundant, and I'm not even going to ever think about this day ever again. And I kept saying it every day, like, money's coming. I'm abundant. It's coming. And I actually have loads of money. I'm not holding it right now. Lo and behold, 3 months later, of just 3 months of me constantly saying that to myself, I get a letter in the post from the lovely HMRC saying, oh, you got a tax rebate of like £900. And I was like, where did that come from? Like, I've not even got a job. I said, okay, there we go. It worked. Did it for another couple of months. Once that money started running out, I was like, oh no, I got no money again. And I was like, hold on, we don't need to do this. We just need to say, we're really thankful for the money we had, and it's going to come again and again. Lo and behold, another 2 months later, student finance sent me a letter saying, you paid too much student finance. Here's like £600 back. And from that day onwards, I was like, I refuse to say the words, I'm broke or I don't have money. Because, okay, there are times we don't have things, we don't have resources that can actually, progress us in life. All we have to say is, I can't do that right now, not that I'm never going to be able to do it. So think about the way you talk. And like I said, your brain can't tell the difference. It can't tell the difference between someone walking up to you like a stranger and saying, I don't really like the way you look, and you saying, I don't really like the way you look. But the difference is you'll be saying it to yourself every single day. A stranger will probably say it once or twice and then they'll be gone. But you'll keep saying it every single day. So be mindful of the way you talk about yourself. Topic number 7, adjust your environment. So this leads perfectly on from topic number 6 about positive self-talk. Your environment itself also needs to be positive. Now, I'm not saying you can ever get rid of any negativity and you can't get rid of every single negative thing in your life, but you can adjust your environment. So if there's people that you're surrounded by that just don't speak to you nicely, doesn't mean you have to ditch them all. And sometimes we can't ditch all these people. They can be our friends, they can be our family, they can be co-workers. But what you can do is adjust your environment. Stop seeing those people that much. And if you can't, then create an invisible barrier. That means that you're just not letting them affect your environment. You might be living in the same space, but you're not living in the same environment. Now, I do that. I lived at uni with 3 terrible girls. They hated me. I wouldn't use the word hate for them, but they didn't like me. They hated me. I didn't like them. So I just adjusted my environment. I mean, we all shared a kitchen, but we had our separate rooms. So when I was in the kitchen with them, if I could hear them, making comments about me or saying things, I would just be like, put my headphones in and be like, I'm not even here right now. I'm actually on the beach somewhere listening to this song, or I'm at a party. That's adjusting your environment. Adjusting your environment doesn't mean physical. There is a mental environment and we're constantly in it. Remove yourself from the physical environment by putting yourself in a happy and positive mental environment. Now, if the people around you are really, really negative and you have the means to move away from them and to remove yourself from that environment, then by all means, I would definitely do that. And just watch how positive the environment will come and how confident you'll become because of it. Topic number 8, fake it till you make it. Now, you guys will have heard this so many times. It's so rinsed and repeated that I feel a little bit cringe saying it myself, but it is so true. You really do have to fake it till you make it. Now, one more thing I learned from Tam was faking it until you make it. She has this fantastic concept about creating an alter ego. And I completely agree. I used to think before that it's not really possible. An alter ego is basically like, this is not like a cartoon or like, Bratz or something where we can just create this avatar and just, conduct our life like that. But we actually can. And I did that last year. I mean, people who have known me since before 2022, 2023, you know, I was a completely different person. And people who know me now know I'm a completely different person. I went through a complete rebranding of myself because I started to fake it until I make it. I mean, I'm not sat here today enjoying recording this podcast. I'm faking it quite a lot. And my producer's laughing because he knows I am faking it completely. I don't want to be here right now. I'm not enjoying it. It's not fun in that sense because I'm faking it. I'm not a podcaster, and certainly I'm not someone who can sit here and say, oh my God, I love doing this. I do this all the time. You have to fake it. You have to put yourself in very uncomfortable situations because diamonds are made under a lot of pressure. So fake it until you make it doesn't mean that you have to pretend to be someone you're not, but you have to fake the confidence. Like, again, wearing this outfit or going out and speaking in public. When I first started doing my first like YouTubes and TikToks, I was so nervous to even put one picture out because I was like, this is going to be so embarrassing. People are going to laugh at me. It's on the internet forever. Until I just started faking it. I started seeing so many creators living their life so out there and so raw. I was like, I can do that. I have something to offer. So I started just making little reels and little TikToks and posting my outfits of the day until I shot my first YouTube video. And that was so difficult because I grew up watching YouTubers like Tam and Nella. I mean, Nella Rose is so hilarious. Like, she doesn't even care what people think of her. She has the best videos ever. And I just thought, how do I do that? That's so difficult to do. Until I just pretended I got in front of the camera and I was just like, talk about a topic, find a topic and talk about it. So I started, and let me tell you, the confidence grew because I was just sat there and I was just like, let's just pretend you're Tam Court, pretend you're Nella Rose. How does she introduce herself? How does she conduct her business? You know, and people will know in my YouTube videos, I do like these little like memes that will pop up, or I'll do like a quick like trailer at the beginning because these are things that I learned, I faked just to get where I am today. So when you fake it until you make it, you create this visualization in your brain that, oh, this is actually who I am. Like, before I used to be like, I don't want to hold my camera up in the air. That's really embarrassing. Like, people are going to think what a wannabe because nobody knows me yet. You know, Tam Core can do it and Nella can do it because everybody knows them. And then I started just faking it. I was like, so what? Like, these are strangers. I'm never going to see them ever again. I started turning my camera around, 0.5, taking pictures. And after a while, people would be like, oh my God, I really like your outfit, because people treat you the way you're treating yourself. So I was like very brazen and out there, like, I'm going to take a picture, or I've took a tripod and I've stood up a tripod right in the middle of this street and I'm taking a picture. And suddenly the confidence starts growing. So fake it until you make it, guys, and watch the confidence grow. Topic number 9, celebrate all your wins. Now this, I literally mean this literally, you need to celebrate every single little thing that happens to you. So December last year, for example, I hit 1,000 followers on all platforms. So Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram. Haven't hit it on YouTube yet, but we're getting there. And I just thought, what shall I do to celebrate? And I've seen people literally cutting one tiny cupcake for reaching like 100,000 followers. And I thought, I am so extra, I'm not doing that. So I had a full out blown party in my house. I invited all my friends. I made a massive backdrop. I ordered loads of food. I bought a brand new outfit. I did a whole photo shoot and everything. It was so extra. There was a balloon arch and everyone was just like, what was the reason? Like, what was the need? That was so extra. You just wasted so much money on a party for like 5 people, literally, 2 of which were my family. So literally 3 people came. And it was just literally about celebrating my wins. I started with 0 followers in August 2024, and by December it had grown to 1,000. And I just think about 1,000 people in one room liking and supporting me every single day. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of people. And that made me feel so confident because I was like, I've celebrated this. Like, I celebrated the first time a random like influencer liked my video, and I was like, I'm going to go out and buy something and I'm going to celebrate this because I've just celebrated a win. When I did my, what was it called? I think it's the winter arc. Yes. So October 2024, I did a winter arc challenge for the whole of October, which was getting me into a good routine at gym. I was waking up at 4:30 every day, getting dressed, going to the gym, doing a full hour at gym. I was eating clean. I was getting my 10K steps in. And I celebrated it. Right at the end, I bought myself a new gym set and I was just like, this is what you deserve for celebrating all of this stuff. And I know it's not that deep. People wake up at 4:30 every day. I was just doing it because I was unemployed and I had to go to the gym. People do it all the time. But celebrating your wins is what reinforces that positive self-image. Like, again, our brain's like, oh my God, look at her. She's clapping for us when no one else is clapping for us. And that really helped because when I hit 1K, not everyone was happy. Not everyone supported me. People watched all my stories of my party and said absolutely nothing. There was radio silence. And I didn't really care because the party was for me, because I clapped for myself. The day I did it, I clapped for myself. The day of my party, I clapped for myself. And I'll continue to. And that's how I can conduct my life completely alone, completely solo, like this episode, because I celebrate everything that happens in my life and I don't need to wait around for someone else to do it. And you don't need to wait around either. So celebrate all your wins, no matter how big or small they are, and watch how your brain turns yourself into this confident, flourishing human being. And finally, the last topic of this solo podcast episode today is focus on growth, not perfection. Now, this one, I think, is if you take one thing away from this entire podcast episode, it is this one. You need to focus on growth and not perfection. So recently I've started to, get back into gym and start eating a little bit more healthy, being a bit more mindful of my diet and my lifestyle. And one thing that's so difficult is like cheating on your diet. So I cheated on my diet yesterday, by the way. So this is not aged well at all. But one thing I'm focusing on is growth. So yeah, I cheated on my diet yesterday and it was a really high calorie meal. But today I've fasted all day and I just bought a walking pad and it just got delivered. So I'm going home and I'm going to be walking whilst I watch my favorite episode on Netflix. That's growth. It's not perfect. I'm not still waking up at 4:30 and going to the gym every day the way I would want to be. And I'm not having juices and salads and like lemon water. Mind you, I made a juice and I just threw all of it in the bin because it tastes like feet. So growth, not perfection. I'm not perfect. I'm just a girl, okay? I'm not drinking beetroot on nobody's behest. You can never make me do it. Ever, ever, ever. And I'm not doing all this chia seeds and everything. Do you know how boring that is? It tastes like crap, basically. But we're focusing on growth. Every once in a while, I will, have a banana or something. I like to eat, so what can I even, I've derailed myself again with food because now I'm thinking about Nando's. But focus on growth. And it's not just about diet. I mean, I can just talk about that. It's about business. So right now, I was supposed to be scheduling posts on TikTok and Instagram. I was supposed to be, getting things done and, sitting there and focusing on my content. But I've been so tired. I've had no time at all juggling work, juggling so many other things. My Invisaligns. It's so difficult, right? It's so difficult. You're laughing, but it's so difficult. And I just thought growth, not perfection. If I can find one day out, and I'll post a little TikTok or I'll post a picture on Instagram, but I know in the back of my head, I'm working on it. It's something I'm doing. I'm sat here today filming a podcast episode because it's growth. I'm doing something. I'm not doing nothing. And it comes with everything. If you want to start that business, you don't have to have a fully fledged created business with a website and a staff and capital and everything right now. What you need to do is, maybe you've got a business idea, just go and register the website or just write down a business plan. It's really, really easy. Just take out a pen and paper and start. Do something and you'll see. I started that when I started my content page. I was like, I want to do something. I need something, to put this talent and this energy out there. So I took a pen and paper and I wrote down loads of names and I was like, what could my content page be? What's my niche? Next thing you know, I spent 4 hours creating a massive mind map of everything I wanted to do. And the next day, my logo was designed. I spent all night designing it because I'd already picked up that momentum because I started somewhere very, very small. And you'll see it will spark something and it will become a wildfire, and your passions, your dreams, your goals, they'll just start flowing so much easier. So strive for growth, not perfection. And that brings us to the end of this solo podcast episode. If you take anything from today, it's that remember that confident person is in you already. You don't need to seek validation from anybody. You don't need to let someone else tell you that you're confident. You need to wake up in the morning and tell yourself. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, be ready for so many more. And you can follow our podcast page on Instagram at All That Jaz Podcast, on TikTok at All That Jaz Podcast, on YouTube at All That Jaz Podcast, and many, many more places that will be linked in the bio. If you enjoy seeing this face, you can see it on so many other places. You can follow my content page at jazzupyourlife __ on Instagram, and at jazzupyourlife on TikTok, and at jazzupyourlife on YouTube, where I post YouTube videos and just fun content. So I'd like to take this time again to thank you very, very much for coming on this journey with me today. This is my first ever solo podcast, and I know more than anything that I needed to read these topics in the car before I got here today, because I was not feeling confident about it at all. But I got in here and I thought, you can't sit there and tell everyone about confidence if you don't feel it yourself. So I practice these things. I'm just like, imagine how fun this is going to be. This is going to be such a laugh. And next thing you know, I've sat here and I've giggled and I've sat and I've talked with you guys because I put in the work. So put in the work and watch how confident you become. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys for a very, very new episode very, very soon. Bye.